Thank you, John, and it is a great pleasure to be at the first ever Patchwork Foundation Gala dinner and to have the opportunity to come together this evening to celebrate the brilliant work that the Patchwork Foundation does. And Harris, I must congratulate you and Patchwork because you have managed to muster a very, very high-quality crowd, if I may say so. I know that to book people like the Home Secretary and the Mayor of London, you have to get them perhaps a year in advance in their diaries, and to secure the services of John Penal, that's many, many months of forward planning. And so, Harris, I was delighted to receive your invitation yesterday. I would like to convey the Home Secretary's apologies. She has sadly been called away on government business, which, as you can appreciate, is an occupational hazard for her. But I know she's very disappointed not to be with us tonight because she is a huge fan of Patchwork, and she remembers in particular that during the 2016 Conservative Party conference, she had the privilege of leading one of the Patchwork masterclasses and got to see firsthand just how sparky and engaged the Patchwork graduates are. And I think we've seen that ourselves tonight with the wonderful panel session. I've just got a bit of advice for Kieran. I don't know where you are, Kieran. The Ministry of Justice is a perfectly good department. I'm bound to say the Home Office is a bit better. But Patchwork has influenced and transformed the lives of so many young people, helping those from unrepresented groups to find their political voice and to get involved in politics by organising meetings and masterclasses with top politicians and journalists, and helping young people to get experience on the campaign trail in Westminster, in Whitehall and in Parliament. Some of the words that have been used in relation to the work of Patchwork are as follows: life-changing, a family, a lifeline. And those are pretty incredible words to describe any organisation. More than 1,000 patchworkers have campaigned for different parties during the last general election, and 250 patchworkers attended party conferences. At Conservative Party conference last year, patchworkers were in the front row when the Prime Minister delivered her speech. They now know that cough suites are an essential part of any public speaker's toolkit. But it's great that many of those who have been part of the programme have gone on to win some incredible jobs across government, in Parliament, with the Metropolitan Police and with the Prince's Trust, to name but a few. Because it's essential that a diverse group of range of people reach the very top jobs in all industries and professions, including politics. I was delighted that in the most recent reshuffle, the Prime Minister doubled the number of people from ethnic minority backgrounds and promoted many, many women. And I say that with complete self-interest because I was one of them. But we are clear that government and Parliament must represent those we seek to represent, and Westminster must be seen as open to all. Now, this isn't a new idea. More than 100 years ago, the suffragettes and suffragists thought this too. And this year marks the centenary of the first women getting the right to vote. The suffragettes endured unimaginable hardships so that women today would have the right to choose who got to govern. They were bullied and belittled. They were pelted with rocks and cowpats and even dead rats when they went on their marches. And many of them were imprisoned fighting for democracy. And when they were in prison and they went on hunger strike, they were then force-fed. One suffragette, Emily Wilding Davison, hid in a broom cupboard in the House of Commons on census night in April 1911 so that she could put the House of Commons on her census return. But the work of the suffragists is often overlooked. The suffragists believed in achieving change through peaceful demonstrations. They persuaded male members of Parliament to take up their cause and to debate it on the floor of the House of Commons. And I'm very grateful for the work that they did, because I'm not the first female Member of Parliament for my constituency in Lincolnshire, in Louth and Horncastle. The first ever woman to be elected to Louth and Horncastle was elected in 1921. She was the second ever female Member of Parliament in the House of Commons. And so it was with an extra poignancy that I realised that in 2015, 94 years later, I was the 428th woman ever to be elected to the House of Commons. There is so much more work we need to do to ensure that women and people from diverse backgrounds make the journey into the House of Commons to help shape how our laws are created. And in my new role, supporting the Home Secretary as Minister for Women, she and I are determined that women's voices continue to be heard and are not just confined to broom cupboards like that in 1911. But I think how we are governed is important. We want a wealth of experience in all corners of public life. We're focusing tonight on the House of Commons, on the national stage, but actually there are many, many local councillors here today, and having good representation on our local councils is just as vital as on the national stage. When I decided to apply to become a candidate for the Conservative Party, it was because I wanted to bring some of my experience of working in criminal courts across the country into the chamber of the House of Commons to help make laws that make sense. And when you've prosecuted a £300 million VAT fraud, or you have comforted the grieving parents who want to see justice for their dead son, you get some perspective on life. But it was a 12-year-old boy, who I'm going to call Billy, who made me think that perhaps I could and should put myself forward for political life. I met Billy at a youth court in the southeast of England. It was his first time in a court, and no adult had come to support him. He was completely alone. I asked him whether mum or dad were coming to look after him. He replied matter-of-factly that he'd never known his dad and his mum would be flat out drunk on the floor. It was 9:30 in the morning. What chance did Billy have in that situation? I made a promise then that one day I would try and do something outside of the criminal courts to help children like Billy. And now, as not just a Member of Parliament, but also as Minister for Crime, Safeguarding and Vulnerability, I have the chance to help children like Billy and to receive the support they need, and I hope to divert them off the course that life appears to have dealt for them. Because being a Member of Parliament, and I know looking at Dawn and other colleagues across the chamber here who are here tonight, being a Member of Parliament is the best job in the world. You get to work for people, you get to help people, you can bring communities together, you can campaign on the things that you really, really care about. I was at an event just before I arrived tonight, at an event trying to encourage more women to stand for Parliament. And one of our new female MPs said to me, she said, I've been in business for 27 years, and I've had a very glamorous business life. I've travelled all over the world, I've lived in some very amazing places. But she said, this job is my favourite. This is the best job. And so if any of us tonight can get some of that passion across to young people who are perhaps thinking that perhaps politics is a path for them, then I think we will be doing our country a very, very good deed. Because everyone deserves to have their voice heard and to have a crack at getting to the top. So, if there is something about which you are passionate, if you are prepared to work hard, and when I say work hard, I mean work hard, if you are prepared to face up when people don't agree with you and to pick yourself up after disappointment, and again, there will be disappointment, if you can speak up when others stay silent, then please do something amazing. Do politics and help make our country a great, great place to live and work. And a message finally from the Home Secretary. She and I both really look forward to seeing some patchworkers on the green benches of the House of Commons in the years to come. Thank you very much.